Good morning. It's Burgess Taylor. Or good afternoon, I guess, depending on what time of day you're watching the. So this will be the second time I've actually tried to do this video, but I think I've got it now. Tips and tricks, my favorite supplies. Most of this is going to be supplies, product, what my favorites are. Some of it's going to be tips though, because you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can cut corners, you can repurpose, you can do a lot of things that make it a lot better, a lot easier, more efficient to journal, to decorate your pages. For the decorated page project, we are talking about supplies and products and things. So I kind of wanted to go over a few things that I think are really important along with my favorite supplies and products, and I'm going to include those things in my tips. So first we're going to start with what I started with. I started with the basics. I had a big plastic bin. I'm going to show you now. That was my daughter's when she was in middle school, probably started in elementary school. Crayons and markers and pens and pencils and colored pencils. Some of the markers were dried out. She had those jelly roll pens and like from way back. She's got Crayola markers and all kinds of things in here. So I'm going to go through this. I haven't actually in the last few years. I've just been pulling stuff out as I go, as I find things that are old or broken or dried up. But I need to go through the whole thing because I'm actually going to use it to put some of my supplies in. Since we were talking about the decorated page, this book and this book, the decorated page and the decorated journal, have actually become two of my favorites for art supplies. Or you could get the complete decorated set, the one book that has everything in it. Because this has a lot of good how-to information. She doesn't give you any brand specific stuff, but she gives you a lot of really good information about art craft supplies for journaling specifically. We're going to start with what I learned are some of the best things to use. Now, you can buy some of the cheaper products, and I do have some of the cheaper products. I don't have any really expensive product. I don't have, I think the closest I have to artist grade watercolors would be those Yarka St. Petersburg paints or the Kuraki Watercolor Set that I have. But I have this platinum carbon desk pen. It's an extra fine nib. It has the carbon cartridges in it that are waterproof ink. I draw with this because it has an extra fine nib, and that makes it has these cartridges. I'm going to leave links below the video. I have just become an affiliate of Amazon. All it does is if you click on the link and you actually purchase the item, I get a little tiny percentage. And it's going to go towards an Amazon gift card that I will buy stuff with, and I'll probably actually get something to do a giveaway with as well. So I get these to go in here. These are like $4 and something. This pen went up a little bit. Things like around between $10 and $15 now, but I've had this now for almost 2 years. It is the best pen. It is awesome. The only thing about it is that once you take the cap off, the cap doesn't go on the end. And you have to put the cap to the side and then put it back on there when you're finished. Because it's technically a desk pen, so it's supposed to sit in one of those little things. I don't have one of those little things. I'm not going to attach one to my desk because I don't always sit at my desk to draw. Waterproof ink cartridges. These also fit in the Platinum Preppy pens. Those went up from like $3.99 or $4.99 to $5. I'm going to leave the links below. You can use the Platinum Preppy, which is actually in an extra fine or fine nib, or this one. I use both. I use the Platinum Preppy to write with, and I use this one to draw with. I also am going to leave a link below to some of my other favorite pens. The most expensive fountain pen I have would be this one, and it's the TWSBI Echo, which is their economical one. This is the TWSBI Echo Clear. I have Nooglers Bullet Black ink. It's supposed to be waterproof. For whatever reason, mine is sort of. You have to let it like dry, like super dry. I also have Noogler's Heart of Darkness. And if you get Noogler's Heart of Darkness, you also get a Noogler's fountain pen free. It's more expensive to buy it, but Comes in a lot bigger bottle. Has an eyedropper. I have that one. I love this ink, but this is not waterproof. But this is the ink that is in my Jinhao with the italic nib from Goulet Pen. I use this one to write quotes with. So at the very last part of my journaling, I leave a space for a quote, and I'll write the quote with this italic nib because it looks really pretty, the italic nib. They have the broad nibs and stuff, but I love the way this writes. Maya got me this Jinhao pen, but I have a couple that are extremely similar or the exact same, they're just a different color, and I got those from eBay. Jinhao pens are extremely cheap. I found them for like $1. The only trouble is you have to make sure you find them from sites that have free shipping. I do a lot of that on eBay. I mostly get the Jinhao pens from eBay or from Goulet Pen. My next favorite pen would be this Sharpie. Some of my other favorite pens, the Sharpie you can get at Walmart or the drugstore. These Uniball Signo Broad, the white pen. I like the microns. I have a few of these. Some of them are older and they don't work so well. I have some in the sepia, the brown, and then some in the black. I have some flares, the Papermates. Those you can get at Dollar General, Walmart. I have the Sharpie pen, the clicker one. It's not as waterproof as this Sharpie pen, just so you know. I have the Pilot Kakuna. Mine is a fine nib. It takes cartridges. What I did is I ordered the supply thing so that you get this needle, and when I run out of ink with the cartridge, I pull it apart. I take the cartridge out. You have to be careful because you can get ink everywhere. I put ink in here. I put ink in the cartridge. I put the cartridge back in the pen. Voila. I'm not constantly buying cartridges. The only cartridges that I buy are those waterproof, the carbon ink ones. Those are the only cartridges that I actually buy. So the Kakuna, I think this one is $10. The Preppy is $5. The one I draw with, the platinum carbon desk pen, I think I found it on Amazon for around $10. I have an X-Acto knife and a ruler with I'll find my ruler. It's a purple metal one, and it has that foamy stuff on the back so that it protects when you're cutting things. It keeps you from cutting other stuff when you're running the line across it. I'll get it out in a minute. I'm having a hard time here. I have the Pentel water brushes. I got the 3 set, and then I have an extra one. One of these water brushes came with my watercolor set. I have this. This is the Koi Pocket Field Sketch Set watercolor set. The great thing about this is that it has this at the bottom, so you can actually color out in the field, and mine has got paint all over it. But what you do is you take this, that sits right there. The little sponges go over here. One of mine is missing. You could actually put water in this, or you could have a little water bottle, and your paints are right here. I got this on Amazon. It's not that expensive, and I would probably say this is probably student grade watercolors, but don't quote me because I don't know for sure. The next thing, I have an old bottle that was a hair product. I washed it. I put water in it, and it's my water mister. I spray my watercolors to get them wet, and I use this. Do it yourself. Repurpose. Another repurpose, salsa jars. I use these. I take the labels off. I wash them really good, and then I use these for when I watercolor. My dirty water. Well, this is supposed to be clean water, but another repurpose that I use, and I use these supplies, would be Mod Podge. I got this small bottle. I found a recipe for it on Pinterest, and now I make my own. And I just pour it in here from this. Glue sticks. Usually I have the Uhu by Saunders glue stick. I ran out and my order hasn't come in, and so I have this. What I usually do every now and again when I go to TJ Maxx, they have things like big packages of things like these. I go to TJ Maxx, I pay $4.99 for 4 of these little glue runners, and the last one I got had 3 glue runners and 2 of these in it, I think. They didn't have that one this time. What I keep in my main pen case would be I have a little mechanical pencil, my Jinhao pen, usually a Sharpie pen. I have white correction tape for when I make those mistakes. I have another mechanical pencil. I don't use a pencil a whole lot, but I do sometimes. I have a dark blue flare pen. I have a white Crayola crayon. It's a glitter one. I like to write down like a word like love or home or a quote and then watercolor over it. And then the wax from the crayon, when you watercolor over it, keeps the watercolor from going over what you wrote, and then it pops out. A little pencil sharpener, a thin thing of washi tape, an eraser, a mini glue stick. I have 3 of these things to hold pages for when I'm watercoloring. And then I have these 2, they're 2 different sizes. One is an 02 and one is a 08. I think the 05 I just took out of there to show you. And then the water brushes go in there. And then the Kakuna, which I started putting the Nooglers bullet ink in because I thought it was going to be completely waterproof. And maybe because I was out in the field or whatever, I didn't let it dry long enough, so it didn't work. This is my pencil case when I'm on the go. Like if I'm going somewhere to go on an artist date or whatever, I have a cover made just like this. It has what was my bullet journal in it, but I haven't really went traveling to actual art journal. So I'm going to take this off of the bullet journal. And what I'll do is I'll take my Omni journal out of my traveler's notebook, out of my Janelli fish. I'll put it in this. I'll take these, and then usually I'll take this. And I make sure I have the basics. And then I can throw all 3 of these in my tote, and I'm not taking up a huge amount of room. So those are some of the basics. Washi tape, I have a small bin with washi tapes. Some of the washi tapes I've gotten from Etsy, some washi tapes I've gotten from Amazon, some washi tapes I've gotten from Dollar Tree, and some I've gotten from Michael's. Wherever I can find it inexpensive, because I don't want to pay a lot of money for washi tape. I've seen the most gorgeous washi tape ever on Etsy. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous washi tape, but I can't see paying $7 or $10 for a roll of washi tape. Every once in a blue moon, if I find one, like I found one that kind of reminded me of a cross between Disney and sort of Wizard of Oz kind of thing, and I got that. Or I found a washi tape, I think it had something on it. It was really the Galaxy, and I think I paid $4 or $5 for that one. That's about the most I've ever paid, and that was when I had a little bit of extra money. I try to repurpose things. I try to save money because I don't have a lot of money to spend on supplies all the time. Okay, another supply that I use, I have these Zig Calligraphy dual-ended pens, markers. They are really pretty. You can write calligraphy with them, well, folk sort of calligraphy. But the only problem with them is they're not waterproof. So if you're going to put it on your page, you need to make sure you put it on after you've done anything that is water related, like watercolor or whatever. And then I have the Kuraki Zig Clean Color Real Brush. I have the 12 count set. It's about time for me to get a new gray one. I probably just need to go ahead and get a new 12 count. The 12 count are the major colors. They're your primary colors, including, but it also has gray, and then it has like an aqua color. It has a darker blue and then a lighter blue. Not a baby blue though. And I like all those colors. There are times when I wish I had a few more colors, but basically the 12 count will work. Especially if you're using other things like I do, like Inktense pencils and watercolors. Prismacolor pencil sharpener. And I actually use this. They say you're not really supposed to sharpen your Prismacolor pencils with pencil sharpeners. And my Prismacolor pencils are one of my favorite supplies. They're here. What did I do with them? I have the 24 count. I got this from Amazon. You're not really supposed to sharpen. That's what they say. Some people say you shouldn't use a pencil sharpener. I think you shouldn't use one of those electric pencil sharpeners. But I found that this, which is specifically for Prismacolor, or the little metal one that you get, if it has a sharp blade and you don't use it for anything but these, it works. I haven't had any trouble with mine. My daughter's been using Prismacolors for 13 years. I have the Tombow Bright dual brush markers. They're great for lettering. Use baby wipes. Baby wipes. They're a must-have, baby wipes. If you use Inktense pencils, you can take the Inktense pencil, which is another one of my favorite supplies. I have the 12 count of these. I have 2 different ones. I have the UK version and the American version. They have a few different colors. So I have some that are the same colors and then some that are very different. If you use this and you color your page, you can do the same color or different colors. You take a baby wipe and wipe it over. It will give you a smooth background. You won't really have the lines as long as you don't press too hard. As long as you kind of lightly color, the baby wipe will smooth it out. And then somebody else in the Destination Me group, someone showed a video where the lady kept her baby wipes. She let them dry from when she had color and stuff on them, and she used it as a background on a page. I thought that was really cool. So Inktense pencils, and then I have these Acacia Say watercolor brush pen markers. They're a lot like the Zig, only you can get a lot more. You can get 20 of these for about the same price that you can get 12, or actually a little bit less money than you can get of the 12 of the Zig clean color brush pens, and these work really well. I will give you a hint though. If you want to use watercolor brush pens, take a piece of that clear acetate that your stickers come on or something like this, and you color on there, and then you take your brush and lift it from here. I used to put it directly on the page, but it tends to bleed through and they don't blend as well as when you pull the color. Okay, I use watercolor paper, different kinds. I usually have gotten it from Michael's. I think I got one pad of it from Walmart. I have the Tombow set for the flesh tones. I thought they'd be better on like when you're doing faces and stuff. Like you could use it with that instead of watercolor. It doesn't work so well. It has to do with the blending, I think. Maybe it's the paper I'm using. I don't know. I use Tomoha River paper mostly, or I use watercolor paper when I'm doing stuff like that, or mixed media paper. It's just not working for me. Maybe I'm doing it wrong because I just realized I've been doing something else wrong with the watercoloring. So I'm learning. I love watching videos about how-tos. I have several different paintbrushes. I got a set from Amazon that are really good. Sorry, mine are all dirty looking, but so you can see. But I have several different. I picked them up from different places. The only thing I can recommend is you can get the set that I got, which has worked really well because the first set that I got from Michael's, and little pieces, and it was supposed to be watercolor. It was supposed to be imitation sable. Little pieces of the brush kept coming off on my page in my watercolor, and oh, it's bad enough my hair sheds everywhere. I don't need the hair from the brushes to shed. Okay, so that's it for that part. And I'm sorry this is going to be a long video. So I got this bad boy from Kmart for $5, and when I go, like if I go somewhere, like when we went on vacation, I took my journal stuff with me. Sometimes when I go to my parents, I take the little stuff, but sometimes I take this bigger stuff. And in it, I keep a little thing of mini scissors. There's the Sharpie pen. I have some washi. This came in some little thing, kitty thing, I think. I have stamp, and I have a little thing of the archival ink. I have one of these, the Stencil. I got a pack from Amazon. I don't really use them much though. I used to when I first started, but now I rarely use them. I have this that I stick sometimes in between my pages so that when you're doing the watercolor stuff or when you're writing, it doesn't mess up the page underneath. But I also use it as a mini mat board because that's what it feels like. I have the Winsor Newton small travel kit, and this travel kit would be perfect if it had black in it, but it doesn't have black in it. This is my infamous pill box that I put the Yarka watercolor pans in. They're the Yarka St. Petersburg, but they were cheaper to buy them without being in a box or whatever. And I think when I get some extra money, I'm gonna get some more of these, and then I'm gonna get one of those things that you can put these actually in. Or I may continue to use this because I haven't had any problems with this. And what I've done is label these so I know exactly what watercolors they are. I have this Staedtler Tri-Plus fine liners, the 10 count. I have the Cray Watercolor Set. I got this from Michael's, I believe. And these are actually decent. I mean, for student quality or for inexpensive ones, I actually like this Prang set better than the Artist Loft. Although, in defense of the Artist Loft one, the Artist Loft has really pretty colors. It's just so chalky. And then I have this with a pencil in it so I can do circles. And oh, like I said, and here's my ruler with the foamy stuff on the back. Yes, it's purple. And post-it notes for notes. And on the other side, all you're going to see is a little more washy. And I have 3 of these. I have a blue, a brown, and a green. I like these. To me, they remind me of bingo daubers. I think I may end up, if I find some on sale, or I'm going to talk with my mom, because I believe my mom has a whole bag of bingo daubers. And I know she's not using them. So I'm going to see if she still has them. And if she does, I'm going to take those and make sprays out of them. Repurpose. I'm going to list some of the supplies below, the ones that I have easily found and that have the links to. Some of the stuff like the eBay and stuff like that, you kind of have to just put it in the thing because sellers, they sell out, and sometimes you can find them at cheaper prices with other sellers. So, but the things that I got from Amazon, and I'm going to put the link for Nanami paper down where I got my 7 Seas Glassfield, and it's becoming a chunky monkey. I love it. I love it. I love it. I made a mistake under here. I was drawing these coffee cups that I got for us. Mine has the lyrics for "You Are My Sunshine," and my husband says "I freaking love you" with XOXO, because we have these gobblers that are clear, and then it has, like, on the front it says, one says Mr. and one says Mrs. And I had found coffee cups at TJ Maxx that said Mr. and Mrs. They were much smaller. When I went back to get them, they were out of them. All they had were 2 Misters, and that wouldn't quite work for us. So over my mistake, I put this. Okay, one last supply. This is the Kuraki Watercolor Set. This is the 36 count. I got this from Amazon too. As you can tell, I get a lot of my products from Amazon. Thanks to Prime, there's free shipping. Sometimes when you find things on eBay, there is free shipping. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you can't find some of this stuff. I do some shopping at Goodwill, at the Salvation Army, at the thrift stores, the consignment stores. I also go to Dollar Tree and Dollar General and Walmart, Kmart, Big Lots. Big Lots sometimes has a lot of really good scrapbooking stuff on sale. Sometimes they don't. It really just depends. I also get some stuff from wherever I find it. Ephemera that I get, like, my husband and I went out on our date, and we went to Ruby Tuesdays and had a coupon. So I cut the corner of the little thing that they sent us in the mail that said Ruby Tuesdays. And then we went by Starbucks, and my husband got me coffee. I got a venti white chocolate mocha, and they had like a little thing, and it had a Starbucks mug on it. So I got that, and I took it with me, and I took a little sticker off my cup, and I added it into my journal page. That's what this tip-in is, as you can see. And then I took the picture with my Intax camera of the mug, since I evidently could not draw them yesterday. And I did some pictures from our wedding. I print these on 4x6 photo paper. This came with my ink cartridges from my Canon printer. I don't have a Canon selfie yet. I don't have the Polaroid zip thing. I figured out a way to print the little pictures through the collage thing and stuff like that through the Canon printer, and it works. And I do most of my pictures with this camera or with my Canon digital camera. Those are the 2 cameras I use the most. I don't ever use my phone camera because it pretty much sucks. So I haven't started today's page. I did do my morning pages, and I did a little bit of reading. Today's a very busy day. I have a ton of errands to run, and then I will be working on today's page. I'm going to pick up the grandson this evening, I guess. I need to text my daughter and find out. I really wanted basically to say that you don't have to spend a whole lot of money. I listed quite a few things. I've been accumulating a lot of these things for the last year and a half. I started out with the Faux Bonichi. I tried a couple of different journals. it up with the 7C Standard, which is the blank page by Nanami paper with the Tomoho River paper. I filled it up. I love it. I do a lot more in my journal. I do Hobonichi style journaling a lot, but I also add a lot of other things in my journal now, because I also add bullet journaling in there. I also add commonplace journaling in there. I add a lot of other things. My journal is no longer just a Hobonichi journal. It's an omni journal. So it has a whole lot more than just one type of journaling in it, because I do various types of journaling. And like I talked about, my very first one was this one. And we were talking about mistakes and stuff. And I did a page back in May of 2015. And it started out really cute. I did some journaling. I made shepherd's pie, took a picture, I did the recipe on the back. I had started beginner's yoga, stretching and stuff. Well, my pen leaked. And as you can see, it got all over the pages. Okay, we had a prompt, and I did the prompt, and that turned out really good. But because I had so much paint and ink and stuff on this page, that it ended up with a lot of that bled through, so I put watercolor in the background. This one did the same thing. This is a tourist spot here. It's called Swan Lake, and my husband inherited a painting. It's a large painting. It's on our dining room wall, and that belonged to his father's grandmother, I believe. Been in his family for a very long time, so I drew that. Well, there's so much watercolor on here, it bled through, so I did the same thing. Watercolor background. Same thing here. And this is Tomoho River paper, which is really good for bleed through. You don't really see a whole lot, just a tiny bit. So I just used it to my advantage. There's some stickers. I really feel like painting that day. Some craft paper, tip in my roses. I planted a rose garden. I mean, there are mistakes, I promise. That's probably one of my favorites. My husband and I started watching The Last Ship. And here's my most favorite mistake. So I did DIY. I redid my bathroom. We had what was a faux marble bathroom countertop, and I redid it. Well, I tried to draw myself. I had paint splatters on me. Well, my face looks like E.T. I don't know what happened there. I didn't erase it. I just went with it. It's in there. That's one of my better ones. You're going to see good ones. That bled through too, because it was a lot of bold color. I used it to my advantage. Some days I didn't really feel like drawing, so I journaled and I put stuff in. That's me and Mr. Victor. I used to add the calendar for the prompts and stuff. I used a map and stuff for ephemera. They were directions. So I don't want you to think that this is my journal from 2015. This was a big mistake, but it happens. I don't want you to think that I was posting pretty much every day in the Hobonichi group back then, and I posted those pictures. They had mistakes. One of the great things about that group, which is what taught me and what I knew I definitely wanted out of the Destination Me group, is that no matter what your art looks like, it's your art. And if you're learning and you're growing and you're trying, it's going to improve. Whether you start with stick figures or inanimate objects, you can draw your food, whatever. If you don't really want to draw, use tracing paper. You could use clip art and color it, or use clip art and put it in your journal. Magazine collage, you can use pictures from magazines and collage it into your journal. There are all kinds of different things that you can do. Don't limit yourself. You're the only person who can control what you put in your journal. So do what is fun for you. And there are a lot of options out there. There are places that have free magazines for you to get. There are sometimes where they, sell them. I get sometimes from the thrift stores. I'll get magazines. I'll get children's books that have illustrated pictures in them, things like that. You can find all kinds of different things. Like I said, you can get less expensive. You can save up your money and buy some of the in the middle products. You can try out the lower count of the things that are good. Me, I tried the lower count of the Zig Clean brush pens. I got the smaller set of the Derwent Inktense pencils. And would I love to have the large set? I most definitely would. Would I love to have the large set of the Zig Clean Color clear brushes? Or you know what I'm talking about. Yes, I definitely would. Would I love to have a set of professional grade watercolors? I most definitely would. Professional grade watercolor brushes? I most definitely would. But I think I need to learn to get better with it. I'm correcting mistakes that are just things that I learned on my own or that I was unsure about and just kind of winged it. And I'm practicing. I'm trying to learn how to do it better. And I would rather start out with some of the in between than to go out and spend a fortune on stuff and then realize later that I don't really need all that stuff. That's what this video is really about, is to give you a few helpful hints about what I found that works, what I found that doesn't work. What didn't work for me were really Tombow markers, except for lettering. What didn't really work for me were, instead of spending a fortune on micron pens, I mostly use the Sharpie pen. I do like the smaller, fine ones. I definitely needed those. I like the brush pens, but if I'm going to buy brush pens, I would rather they be waterproof because if I do anything over the page or anything, then they're going to smear. I just tried to kind of share some of the products that I know are tried and true. I have those Staedtler fine line pens for the coloring with the different colors. Every now and again I use them in my journal to write with. Mostly I use those to write notes with because they're different colors. If I want a specific color to stand out with a note. I use this a tremendous amount. I use the Prang, I use the Prismacolor pencils. I buy things from all kinds of different places and I find things that work. When I first started, I used a lot of scrapbook paper. I don't really use it anymore except for tip ends. Every now and again I use it for a little piece of a background, but I don't really use it anymore except to cover inserts with and to do bits and pieces for background or to do collage work like I did on the dresser. I use tip ends from all different kinds of places, construction paper, photos, advertisements that come in the mail, anything and everything. I save things. We got an ace that came in the mail. But in here, guy with a grill. I'm probably going to cut out that grill and use that grill in a page. Just different things. You can find different things that will work for you. The last thing I want to say is I don't mind spending the money on something that I know is going to work, like the Inktense pencils. I don't mind spending money on something that I know is going to work, like the Prismacolor pencils or like the journal itself. I don't mind spending a little bit more money for something that I know is a really good product that's going to last longer because I'm going to get my money's worth out of it. If I go and spend a bunch of money on a bunch of cheap products and then I find that they're really not working, then I've wasted my money. When I started out with my daughter's old supplies. A lot of that was Crayola. There were Crayola pencils, Crayola markers, Crayola watercolor pencils. I went by Dollar General and I went by Walmart and I got a really inexpensive set of Crayola stuff. Tried that. I started with all of the Crayola products like that and I went from there. And then I ended up getting the travel field kit for the watercolors and the Inktense pencils and the Prismacolor watercolor pencils and the Prismacolor pencils. I went from Crayola to the better products once I realized I really liked doing it and I really enjoyed it. And you can find products from anywhere and everywhere. So there are some things that you are definitely worth you spending your hard-earned money on. And then there are some things that are kind of iffy, some things you try out and you realize just don't really work for you. Use Crayola markers for lettering. You don't have to spend a fortune on these. If you have the money and you want to, because the Tombow are better, they're brighter, they're more bold, by all means do. I'm just saying if you are new to it and you're not sure you're really going to like it, you can try other things. Thanks for watching, y'all. Have a good one. I really appreciate it. Bye.